Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Obviously it has been a hot second since I've posted anything. I don't really have much of an excuse for that other than I haven't really had anything interesting to say. So if you're new here, welcome. Most of my videos are Disney related because I did work in Disney World last summer. But now things are starting to take a bit of a turn, and we are talking all things Australia today. So as you can tell from the title of this video is to help you move to Australia. Okay, so you've decided to move to Australia. Great, good for you, I'm happy for you. But the first thing you have to do is get there, and you have to be hopefully let into the country legally, and to do this you need a visa. So this video is going to be about the two most common visas that young people get to get into Australia. So that is the working holiday visa, or subclass 417, or the work and holiday visa, which is subclass 462. On the screen I'll type out a list of all the eligible countries for each of these visas. The visas are almost identical, but they do differ a little bit, and the biggest thing is what country you have to have a passport from in order to get each visa. For the working holiday or subclass 417 visa, here is a list of all of the countries that you can be from in order to get this visa. So maybe you just want to pause it and screen capture that. And then here are all the countries that you can be from to get the work and holiday visa, or subclass 462. So if you want to screen grab that as well. You might notice that a lot of the countries from the first visa I mentioned, the working holiday, are countries that were either British colonies or in the Commonwealth now. So that's the visa that I'm going to be on. So like Canada, Australia is part of the Commonwealth. This visa is very easy to get if you're from one of these countries, and I will tell you about my experience getting it pretty soon. First and foremost, pretty much all of this information is coming from the Australian Department of Home Affairs website, so you definitely want to check that out. It's like a brand new website. It's really user-friendly. You can go through it. It'll tell you everything you need to get the visa, and also new changes, because these visas are constantly changing. There's already been, I think, 2 or 3 major changes to it since I've been looking at it, which has been just under a year probably. So definitely check that website out. Also, this visa is primarily for tourism and travel. It just so happens you can work on the visa, and that is basically to supplement your travel. So if you're applying for these visas, you really want to make sure that your goal is to travel, to be basically a tourist in Australia. They don't want people coming, obviously, and taking like menial jobs away from Australian citizens. This is completely different if you are a skilled worker and on a skilled worker visa, where in that case basically there's a demand for a certain skill. I think it's usually a lot of tech stuff, a lot of medical stuff. So if you're in one of those professions, you may want to look into a different visa, because there is a demand for those workers there, and there aren't enough Australians filling that demand. Just remember, when you're applying for this visa, don't make it seem like you're coming there to work to make money and then go home. You want to make it seem like you want to immerse yourself in Australian culture, and travel around Australia, and not just be kind of sucking up the economy and just using all their resources without really giving back in a meaningful way, which we'll get to when we talk about like farm work and regional work, and that's kind of our way to give back to the country and not just take from it. Both of these visas start out being a 12-month long visa. So your very first visa is 12 months long. You have to be between 18 and 30 to apply, except if you're from Canada and Ireland, you can be up to 35. And I think, but don't quote me on it, I think they might have just extended that for France. I think you can also be 35, but definitely check the website. Of course, when I was doing all the research for this, the website had like a planned like outage. So a lot of the pages I wasn't able to access, but a lot of this I know from looking at this website pretty extensively in the past. Also, there's a new kind of thing for the work and holiday, so subclass 462 visa. They're, I think, starting to add Ecuador and Greece into it, so they have some kind of reciprocal agreement starting soon, where if you're from Ecuador or Greece, you can apply for this visa. specifically for the 462 visa, there, for some countries, there are a cap or a limit on how many people from that country they allow in each year. So again, on the Department of Home Affairs website, they have a list and they have exactly how many people are allowed from that country. Cat. And also, it'll say if the applications are open for that country or not. I think for the most part, I'm gonna really be talking about the experience of my 417 visa from the perspective of a Canadian. And then also, since I'm moving down there with Americans who are on the 462 visa, it's mostly gonna be about Americans, and they don't seem to have a cap. I didn't see anything about that. But if for some reason you're on the website and you see your country, the applications are already closed, each year it seems to reset on July 1st, so I guess that's kind of the beginning of, I think that's the beginning of their fiscal year. It's like completely opposite to ours, or maybe not the fiscal year, but like, I don't know, because that's like 6 months from January 1st. I don't know, but check out the website and it says something about July 1st. So like I said, the first visa you apply for is valid for 12 months. If you want to extend it for another 12 months, you need to participate in what is called specified work or regional work in your first 12 months. So 3 months, it has to be 3 months full time. It'll tell you exactly how many hours, exactly how many days that needs to be on the website. And for both visas, it's almost the same except for the working holiday visa or the 417 visa. You can participate in almost any category of what's called specified work in almost every single state. So there are specific postcodes that are considered regional, and you can do like farm work, fishing, tree, forest stuff, construction in almost every postcode of every state, like regional postcode of every state. However, for the subclass 462, the work and holiday visa, it's really confusing, I know. It's working holiday and work and holiday, but just try and remember the numbers. So for the 462 visa, you can only do plant and animal cultivation, which essentially is the farm work, which is what most people end up doing. You can do that in all postcodes, however, all regional postcodes, this is getting very confusing, I know, but it makes a little more sense when you go on the website. However, all of the other specified regional work, so fishing, tree stuff, construction, purling, all that kind of stuff, can only take place in Northern Australia. So the state of Northern Australia, which is very remote, super outbacky. Don't come for me, Australians. This is just the only thing I know from what I've been reading and like what the media depicts as like the outback, you know? So I'm not trying to offend anyone. I think that region is probably lacking with tourism and with like young people who are willing to do these jobs. So this is kind of our way of giving back to the economy, giving back to the actual infrastructure of Australia by doing farm work, doing the hard work, and also just doing the jobs that maybe are less desirable and are a lot more labor intensive. That is if you want to apply for a second year. So you have to complete your 3 months in your first year, so remember that. Now, starting, I think July 1st of this year, so just a few weeks ago, you can apply for a third year on this visa. However, in your second year, you need to complete 6 months of regional work. So, not 3 months like the first year, but 6 months. So you will have done a total of 9 months of specified work in order to stay for 3 years. So that is a very new development on these visas, so take a look at that if that's something that interests you. I know that specified work is now starting to kind of include like hospitality and tourism, but it's a very specific way that you have to go about that, and obviously make sure all the work you're doing is recognized by the government, So with these visas, you can work for up to 6 months at an employer at a given time. So this is completely separate from your regional work. This is if you're just getting a job, say serving, working at a bar, working at a clothing store, etc. You can only work for one employer for 6 months at a time. So you want to be really clear about that on your resume, that you're on a visa, that you can't be there for a long time, you're there for a good time, you know? So also with that, you can study for 4 months on this visa, but only up to 4 months. So be really careful with that. I've heard stories of people getting in trouble. Okay, so my battery just died and I don't know where it cut me off. Probably when I was talking about studying, so just be careful about that. If you're trying to go there as a student, there are other visas for you. So again, I'll reiterate it. The purpose of this visa is to travel and be a tourist, so keep that in mind. Okay, so now you're at the point where you've decided you're moving, you want to apply for the visa. So first I'll talk about my experience as a Canadian with the 417 visa, and then I'll talk about my friends who are American and their experience with the 462 visa. So basically you just go onto the website, you'll see a bunch of things that say apply, you'll make a little account on their like immigration website, and then you will start filling things out and ticking boxes. Essentially for me, I think the only document I had to upload was a scan of my passport, so that just proved who I was, where I was from. You enter all kind of just personal like contact information, and then you have the option to say yes or no to a bunch of different questions. The most interesting ones that stood out to me that, I mean, they're kind of funny, but also like I get why they're asking them, are like, have you ever been convicted of war crimes? Have you ever been convicted of genocide? Have you been convicted of crimes against humanity? So like, they're not messing around with their questions. So if you're a war criminal, you might not want to apply, you might get denied. Basically, all of these questions you basically want to answer no. They don't want to see any red flags on the application. I think the only thing I had to answer yes to was, have you ever held a visa for another country, or like lived outside of your home country for more than like a certain amount of days or something. And I had to say yes because I had a US visa last summer to work in Disney World. So like that was the only thing, but that's not a major red flag, if you know what I'm saying. So from start to finish, it probably took me 10 minutes to fill out the whole application. The whole time I was like second guessing, like, oh my god, is this my actual birthday? Is this my actual name? Is that how you spell it? You know, you like, it's very important and you don't want to get anything wrong. So at the end, you pay the fee for both of the visas. It's 485 Australian dollars. So luckily for me that it's like almost on par with Canadian dollars. For Americans, it's actually going to be a lot cheaper for you. Your dollar's a lot stronger. Boo. So you pay the fee, which is non-refundable. So if you don't get accepted, you're not getting that money back. And you click, great, okay, I'm doing it. And then you check your email. So I got accepted literally right after I clicked confirm. I got an email saying visa application granted, gave me my information. It said, great job, you did it. I don't know, I can't remember. But so you also have to provide like when you think you're gonna enter the country. We had kind of a ballpark of when we knew. You have a year to enter the country from when your application is granted. So mine was granted back in, I think, beginning of April. So I would have technically until April of 2020 to get in. However, we're leaving in September in like almost just, I don't have a watch on, I don't know why I did that. In just over a month, we're gonna be there. Crazy, weird. So yeah, you have a year to enter the country. So don't do it like too far in advance. I think on the website it says most visas are processed quite quickly, like within days, hours, but they also say give yourself up to like 3 months for it to be processed, which I haven't heard of. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone taking that long, but just, you know, be mindful of that. So then I was done. I had my visa, start to finish, like again, like 10-15 minutes, so quick, so easy, barely had to prove who I was, super simple, yay Commonwealth, we did this. However, for my American friends applying for the 462 visa, it was a bit of a different story. So we were all together down in Orlando doing it, thinking, okay, I'm gonna go first because mine's probably gonna be the easiest, but your guys's will probably be quite similar, because that's what I'd been hearing on all the YouTube videos I had watched of this. Wasn't really the case. So they had to provide a lot more information. They had to prove who they were a lot more. So they had to provide multiple types of identification, essentially. They had to provide, I think, high school transcripts, university transcripts if you have them. They had to do something with their birth certificates. They had to scan their passport as well as get new passport photos taken to basically, I guess, prove them against each other. And they had to do a lot more work. So they had to go out and do stuff and get verification. So, I mean, it's not like it's hard, it's just you have a lot more steps to do if you're on the 462 visa and not associated with the Commonwealth at all, like most of the countries you'll notice that I put up before, they aren't associated with the Commonwealth at all, I don't think. So it's a little more complicated. However, after they had both applied, they pretty much got accepted, I think, right away. Mine was like literally immediately. I think theirs was in 20 minutes to a few hours for both of them. So again, it's probably not hard to get accepted. They had a lot of similar questions that I did about like genocide and not being a bad person and like not being a criminal. So you want to make it seem like you're super healthy, so make sure you tick all those boxes. You haven't done anything super bad, like you're not going to be a criminal there, you're going to abide by their laws and their guidelines, and from everything about like discrimination, you know, you're not going to go there and like be a horrible, terrible person and like try and go against their laws and their guidelines and their human rights, basically. So yeah, so they had a bit of a longer process and had to go out and actually do more things, whereas I could beat boot do it right away. So yeah, just be ready for that if you're applying for the 462 visa. So maybe now you have your visa or you just got it. If so, congrats, good for you. Now you can start doing all the fun stuff, like getting your flight and spending lots of money on that and finding a place to live and figuring out where you're gonna live. So I know a lot of the videos I've watched are mostly people who plan on like staying in hostels and doing like work for accommodation. Our situation is pretty different. We know we're going to be living in Melbourne. We actually just found a place and just signed our lease a couple days ago, so that's super exciting. So we kind of have more of a permanent situation, whereas I know a lot of people go on this visa and they travel around Australia. Obviously, I'm going to be traveling a bunch, but I will still be permanently situated in Melbourne. If you have any questions about visas, leave them in the comments. I'll try to answer them, but definitely look at the Home Affairs website. I'll link it down below so you have all that information. I hope this Australia video becomes the first in sort of a series. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope it has sparked something in you, maybe made you want to move like me. Maybe not. That's fine too, you know, stay where you are in your bubble. I know it's comfy there. But yeah. So that's it from me. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Don't give it a thumbs down, that just seems rude. If you want more videos like this, then consider subscribing to my channel. I love that. And I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!